my name is Trinity, and if you're here, well, today you're here to watch me do the Popular Opinions book tag. And this was created by Abby at Abby Salter, and I will link her video down below. But the premise of this tag is you guys have all heard the unpopular opinions. And I am a big fan of giving my unpopular opinions. But what Abby said was so true that Booktube needs to be more a place of positivity and sharing the books we love than talking about the books that we don't like or the books that we hate. You know, we need to be spreading more joy in the Booktube community, and I agree. That is part of the reason that I cut my video of books that don't live up to the hype. And I basically just didn't want to trash on any more books because I have done the anti-TBR tag and things like that in the past. And so I was really compelled to share this video and this tag because I really think that more love needs to be spread. So the first question is a popular book or series that you love. Lightbringer. I absolutely love Lightbringer, and I think Brent Weeks does a fantastic job with all of the different POVs that he chooses to write. It's one of my favorite series of all time. And then I can be basic and say Mistborn because Mistborn is absolutely fantastic. And for young adult, I really love Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. I think that duology is just a good old time. Leigh Bardugo, I love her writing. I am also really enjoying the Faithful and the Fallen series by John Gwynne. I think that is a fantastic, fantastic series. It does have some things in it that make it hard for me to read, which like the large cast of characters, but I really, really love the Faithful and the Fallen series so far. I'm on book 2, reading it currently, and just thoroughly enjoying it. So much so that my husband purchased the next 2 books for my birthday. So, question number 2, an underhyped book or series that you love and wish was more popular. The one that sits behind me in every video, Draconis Memoria. I am going to pitch this book until more people read it. I really love it. The Black Jewels trilogy by Anne Bishop. I have only read the first book in that series, but I really enjoy Anne Bishop's writing. She is a phenomenal author, and I read Daughter of the Blood a few years ago and then just never continued with the series because I couldn't find the other books. However, I have found them now. You guys are going to see a pretty massive birthday haul. Just say that. And then, of course, the other series or trilogy that I talk about a lot, and that would be Hood, the Robin Hood retelling from Stephen R. Lawhead. Still one of my favorite series of all time. Number 3, a romance that you love. Kaz and Inej. Y'all knew I was going to go there. I love Six of Crows. I think that romance is adorable, even though Kaz Brecker is an edgelord. I think that those two complement each other so well. Such an OTP. And a divisive OTP for me would be Jude and Carden from the Folk of the Air trilogy by Holly Black. I do like them as a couple. I know that they start off on a very rocky start, but the ending of that trilogy was so satisfying in terms of their relationship, and I really, really enjoyed it. Okay, the next question is favorite genre and or a genre you want to read more from. So you guys know that my two favorite genres are horror and fantasy. And at this point in my life, they run pretty neck and neck, but I do read a lot more fantasy than I do horror. The reason for that is because fantasy is a very new genre to me. I've only been reading it in the last 5 years, so I have a lot of catching up to do. And while I feel like there's a lot that I have read, there is so much that I still have not read. And I adore it. I love it. I love fantasy worlds. I really love magic systems like Lightbringer, Mistborn, Draconis Memoria. Love the magic systems, and I really like exploring new and interesting worlds. So I'm always down to find a world that will suck me in. Horror I do still love, but I have read so much of it in the past that it's really hard for me to find horror either that I haven't read or new authors that I haven't read. And I'm always open to suggestions. If you guys have horror recommendations for me, absolutely let me know. And a genre that I wish I read more often or that I'm trying to get more into is definitely sci-fi. I figured out this last year that I love sci-fi, and I talked about it a little bit. There are a couple of books in sci-fi that I read that should have been like, duh, Trinity, but it didn't click until I read The Space Between Worlds, and I was like, oh, I love everything about this book. And then I read Scythe, and I was like, I love everything about this book. And I kept reading sci-fi, and I was like, oh, and I read To Sleep in a Sea of Stars. And when I read To Sleep in a Sea of Stars, okay, so I listened to it, and it is voiced by one of my favorite voice actors in gaming, and I should have made the link between the book and the game sooner than I did, but Mass Effect is one of my favorite games of all time, and it never clicked in my head, hey, you love sci-fi. But it finally did this last year, and so I've been trying to pick up more sci-fi. I do have a few books on my upcoming TBRs that are sci-fi that I'm very excited to get to, and I really just want to dive more into the genre and see if there are more books that I like. I do know that I'm not a huge fan of classic sci-fi. I did read Ender's Game, and I did enjoy that, and I have always been a fan of Brave New World, but there's a lot of backlist sci-fi stuff that I don't know if I'm going to enjoy it. I will definitely give it a try, but a lot of it just doesn't appeal to me, and that has to do more with the writing style than the actual content of the books. And that, again, that's just me in the slower pace of older novels that I just have an issue reading them. But definitely excited about reading more sci-fi. A popular character that I love, or a character that I think needs more love. Whew, I don't know. Kavoth. Y'all stop hating on Kavoth. I love the Kingkiller Chronicles. I know, I am aware that Kavoth is an unlikable character. I am highly aware of that fact. I do know that he is a little bit of a pill, and he's stuck on himself, but he is a very well-written character. even knowing all of this stuff about him, I adore him so much. I mean, he's on my wall, so I obviously adore him. Okay, the next question is an auto by author. Anthony Ryan, Brent Weeks. I have a whole video of this. I will link it down in the description box. But I have quite a few that are auto by authors for me. Not all of them are fantasy. Sanderson, definitely Sanderson. Gwen. There's quite a few. And like I said, I have a whole video of it and I will link that down below. Number 7, a popular book trope that you love. Here Comes the Cavalry. I really like that. I know that Abby said that in her video. There's not a whole lot of fantasy tropes that I don't like. So here's my thing. Tropes are tropes for a reason. They are things that are seen a lot in novels, and it all depends on how you write them. There's not a whole lot of tropes that I don't like. There are just tropes that are usually not done well, and I'm willing to read books with tropes. I love young adult, and they can be fairly tropey. But again, with young adult, it still has to be written well, and with fantasy, it still has to be written well. There are some things that irk me a little bit, but for the most part, if it's written well, I'm going to enjoy it. So, I mean, you can go across the spectrum with that, be it a love triangle, chosen one, Here Comes the Cavalry. There's so many of them that can be done poorly and done well at the same time. So I'm not against any trope. Number 8, a popular series that you are excited to read. I have a few. The Queens of Renthia series by Sarah Beth Durst. I'm very excited to read that. I'm very excited to read The Poppy War. There's one by Mark Lawrence that is, the main character's name is Nona, and it starts with the Red Sister, the Book of the Ancestor. I am very excited to read that. There's quite a few, and you guys are going to see a haul from me very soon that will answer this question very well, because my husband went a little crazy in buying me books for my birthday. And a lot of the series I've been wanting to get to will be present in that haul. Okay, and the last one is a popular book to film that you loved the story and the film. I have to say Harry Potter. They are both so different. Like the books are so different from the movies, and but I still love them. I still watch them all the time. And I don't think I will ever stop watching or reading them. I know that they are a series we are not supposed to mention anymore, but I really do like them. All right, and that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you had fun with me. Like, subscribe, do all the fun things, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!